Welcome back. This is Will at Work. I'm Kevin. Today we're looking at the Telstar Ranger. So, it's been advertised on TV. We looked at the Regent, Telstar Regent, not too long ago. And that was basically very similar to this system. I believe it is using the same microprocessor, but this adds the gun to the mix, the gun game. And that doesn't do us much good because I don't really need to test the gun games because they don't really work with on modern televisions, although maybe these old Pong system ones do. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, the particular gun that goes to this unit is currently, I'm going to not say missing, but it's not around. I don't know where the heck it is. It doesn't really matter because all of these games utilize the same, if you can see here on this box, this type of connector. And I actually have several guns, probably this gun, but other guns as well, that actually came separately boxed that you could buy as replacement guns. If you went into like a Kmart store back in the day, if you wanted, you could purchase a gun without buying the system. That was actually a thing. I doubt many people did that. In fact, I think guns in their own boxes were probably fairly rare. And so that's why I'm glad I have at least one of them. But I also have some loose guns as well. So not a big deal with the gun. We're not going to test the gun, but we will see if these start up as well as if the system works. So let's move the box out of the way and we'll get the system out here. Because I took it out of the box ahead of time to make sure I had all the pieces, parts, but I haven't tried it yet. Okay, so there's the Telstar Ranger. I'll zoom in a little bit on that. Yeah, we got a little glare there. Okay. And here we have, interestingly enough, these RCA plugs, right? They're kind of pointing outwards, and that's not what you use to play. The controllers themselves are here, and they can connect there with that stereo plug on the back. So you can just pop that right on there and play locally on the machine, right? This is just a weird design decision. Same with this one over here. You know, you just pop that in and you can play right there on the machine. Who wants to do that? I don't know, but that's maybe how they did it in some households. But then they also gave you some cable so that you could, which is essentially like a speaker wire extender, old school RCA. Male and female, and you could extend this, to go sit on the couch or something while you play. But again, and we've mentioned this in other episodes, the fact that the reset button, is on the main unit, you can't really lounge very far away, So it's like they almost know what they want to do back then. They almost got it. They're like, people want to sit on the couch. Yeah, let's make the controllers so they can sit back and just, relax. So, sit in the big chair. It's a great idea. But they just were like, well, we're not going to put the reset button on there, though. It's really goofy. I do have the original Coleco switch box as well, which we won't use for this, but, it's always good to have one that comes with the system. This particular system, even though it's in black and white, and only has the typical handful of games, is copyrighted 1977. So it's not as early as the other ones. I think, this is Coleco Canada, and it's on this side too, in the American Coleco Canada. Now, I don't know if it's a Canadian only release or not, but it looks like this particular system came from Canada. Now I know it says 1974 limited, but here it says 1977. My guess is you know, they may have been selling it for 3 years. Maybe it did come out in 74 and they continued to sell it in 77 and they revised the instructions. Maybe. But you know, it's probably just a later edition. But either way, it's pretty basic. Sound comes out here. And we have our beginner immediate pro, which we saw before, reset button. The only real difference with this one is going to be in the gun, which we're not going to look at. Now, it does take batteries, and this is one of the very few I've seen, in fact, maybe the only one I've seen, where we have screws on the back to take out the battery box. Then we have this weird sort of manufactured by Coleco Industries, Amsterdam, New York, etc. And then it looks like it was at one point taped over with the Canadian 1974 Limited, Montreal, no serviceable parts inside, and some extra stuff, including some dates here, 1972, 1973, which probably has to do with patents. So, obviously, you know, they put a bunch of these in a box, shipped them up north, they slapped a sticker on it, and then they resold it into the Canadian market. That's got to be exactly what they did. Uses 6D type batteries, plus we have the French and English, which is totally Canadian, and it tells us to use a specific adapter. Now, I do have the adapter, and adapters are always a wild card with these things. Hopefully this works. You know, sometimes somebody's already opened these things up, and the adapter doesn't go well with it or something, or it's not connected. I've shorted out ones and had to buy some transistors and repair them in order to get them to work, which actually worked, which I was more surprised at than anybody. But let's go ahead and try it, since I just happen to have a Telstar adapter sitting here, and they tend to be universal. So I'm not hearing anything. So it might be a dead one. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to stop the camera. I'm going to see if I can get, I'm going to plug this wireless in, see if I'm getting any kind of power. Sometimes you can see some static changes when you know that, like, power's working through it. I'll also try batteries because, like I said, sometimes the adapters don't always go so well. And if I get it working, we'll switch over to the video side and we'll take a look at the games themselves. If I don't get it working, we'll come right back here and we'll see what kind of parts I've got laying around and we'll talk about it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it looks like with the Telstar Ranger here, we just had a bad power supply. I had a Telstar unit that, yeah, it just didn't work anymore. So that one went into the trash. But the universal power supply I have seems to be working fine. So let's see, we have controllers on the left are a little bit, they're not too bad now. Need a little bit of motion in there, but seem to be functioning fine. Right controllers, other than right there at the bottom, pretty smooth movement. So that's beginner, intermediate, gives you the smaller, and then high speed with the larger is pro. Seen that before. This is hockey. There's tennis. Handball is single player, I think. I'm not seeing another one, so that's just practice. And then squash gives us player 2. And then we have the gun games. So we have skeet, which is just you got to shoot at that bouncy ball, big deal. And target, which just bounces around some more. So just the same as everything else, but in a different type of case. Like gun game, Probably very inexpensive. Exported to Canada. A little bit unique in that regard, since we have the manual and everything from Canada. But overall, nothing special here. Telstar Ranger, though, it works. We'll keep it. Thanks for watching. Let's move on to something else.